Hello, Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack.com here. Believe it or not, it is 3:16 a.m. on October the 2nd, Sunday morning, early morning hours. I want to take a look at a couple of things that I think are very important here. First of all, a look at the satellite animation of Hurricane Matthew after that weird outage where you get that one black frame. There was a problem with the transmission system or something with the satellite, but it looks like it's working now. You can tell that the deeper reds here have disappeared for the most part, except in the eastern semicircle of Matthew. This will be transient. We talked about this before. Expect fluctuations in the intensity. Overall, it looks like it's moving northwest to maybe even west-northwest with time, moving along that red line there that I've drawn in. It certainly isn't moving north-northwest. It's still gaining a little bit more longitude, or moving westward more than it is moving poleward or north, gaining more latitude. What does that mean? Well, let's look right up here. There's the western tip of Haiti. Here's Kingston, Jamaica, tucked in here, eastern part of Jamaica. If this gets over far enough, it could threaten a close proximity strike or landfall even in Jamaica. And I don't think that'll happen, but you never say never with these systems. It looks a little bit more ragged, generally speaking, but again, these intense hurricanes fluctuate up and down, and right now it looks like it's on a little bit of a downward phase. The only thing I can say is the upper ocean heat content definitely increases up in this region and farther to the west of Jamaica. Bottom line is this is going to be a very powerful hurricane, and really the biggest threat, I've talked about it, is rain, and I'm going to discuss that in more detail later in the day today on Sunday here. But what I want to show you, and this first of all comes from the exquisite work done by Levi Cowan at tropicaltidbits.com to code these maps in a way that they are very easy to navigate and show you different things using them. So a definite hat tip to Levi, a student in Florida State University over here in Tallahassee, going to be a fine meteorologist. I think he's in graduate school. I need to make sure that's correct. But anyway, you can tell it's late because I'm rambling. This is the GFS from the 0Z run tonight. And what we're looking at is that 500 millibar level. And the red coloring here shows you basically the 588 thickness line or region of this big ridge over the Atlantic. So this is, thicker air here. My iPhone still beeping at this time of night, than this over here. Anyway, let me just move through and show you what's what instead of getting into the technical details. So watch what happens, and by the way, as you can imagine, there's Matthew right there down in the Caribbean, and so watch what happens as I go through the next several days. It comes up a little bit closer to Jamaica this time, the center passing just west of the tip of Haiti. But that's the center, of course. The effects and the very heavy rain will be all through this region, and then, of course, towards Cuba. But watch what happens as this moves across Cuba into the southeast Bahamas, crawls up the Bahamas over time, up towards the Carolinas where it looks like it might try to make landfall, and then it's on out to the open Atlantic. So let's go back just a little bit. Notice right about here, you get this little ridge area. The 588 height line builds back to the west, and Matthew is sort of, west of that and south, west of this part of the ridge, south of up here. A lot of people call this a thumb ridge. It kind of like a thumb sticking out. It develops, and I mentioned this earlier, that the 12Z and the 18Z runs were the first times that I really saw this, and it's more pronounced overnight with the 0Z than ever before. Nevertheless, Matthew is able to escape and move on out as the heights overall up here collapse, and it leaves a weakness for this to escape on out to sea. So let me just show you something. All right, let me get this out to day 7. So here's the GFS at day 7, 168 hours out, way out to the east of North Carolina, southeast of the Delmarva. No problem at all, you would think, right? Well, let's take a look at the Euro. I think we can all agree a lot has been made, especially for this event, at how superior, and there's the second iPhone notification. That should be the last, hopefully. It's okay. I'll get it later. The Euro, a lot of talk about how superior it is, and it's got the right idea, and that the ensembles are leading the way, etc. Well, this is the operational model. I'll grant that. But what I'm getting ready to show you, I think, is going to have a lot of people talking as the day progresses on Sunday here. Are you ready? Now keep in mind the euro is 24-hour increments. You notice that right here? So the 0 hour right here, the initialization, pretty good. 24, 48, whatever, out to 240. You get the idea, right? So here's 24 hours out. There's 48 hours. Pretty close to where the GFS would have it, near the western tip of Haiti. Then the euro does something interesting from hour 48 to 72. A little bit of a northeast jog. And hey, look what's happening. The ridge is starting to try to build back in. That's a lot more than a thumb up there, but that's just the start. Watch what happens here at 96. There's that thumb ridge, just like the GFS is showing. And hey, look at Matthew. It's coming into the Bahamas. You figure this will probably thin out, and Matthew will escape on out to sea much earlier than the GFS, right? Wrong. Look at that. That's more than a thumb up there, too, buddy. That's a big old palm developing over the northeast. Heights falling way back here over the Midwest. Nowhere near Matthew. And even out here over the Atlantic with whatever this mumbo-jumbo is, not really causing too much of an erosion of the ridge. A little bit. You can see right here it's pretty thin. So you say once again at hour 120, this will probably come on up and turn like this, right? Surely by 144. Nope, it does not. This is as close as I have seen it to the United States, if memory serves, and boy, have I looked at a lot of this over the last week. It's just maddening. So there it is, very close to the United States relative to where it has been. Kind of a weird face this creates, too. What is that? Golly, boy, my imagination's running away with me, isn't it? 3:24 a.m., you can't blame me. So the ridging staying intact a little bit. There's whatever that is out there. Surely by now, boy, if the ones before this didn't turn it, between 144 and 168, this has got to go out to sea. Surely this erodes away and out it goes, right? Wrong again. Unbelievable. When I saw this earlier, first of all, this face that's coming into play, that just needs to go away. That's frightening. Yuck. It's just weird, isn't it? But this is incredible. 144 to 168. Remember, see where the GFS is at 168? Way out here east of Hatteras by a good stretch. Where's the euro at 168? South of Wilmington, North Carolina. Yep, this is a lot more interesting than it looked like at 11 o'clock tonight and after the GFS ran. Wouldn't you say? I think so. What I wonder, are we seeing the beginnings of that 588 thickness, that thumb ridge, growing more and more, because it certainly has from 12 to 18 to 0 Z runs of the GFS, and it was there a little bit in the 12Z run of the euro, even more in the 0Z. We can just wait and see together, I guess. But boy, things just got a lot more interesting in my opinion. And I can't wait to see how people try to explain this version of the euro, because it's so superior. And so if it is, and it shows this, maybe we need to be paying a little bit closer attention here in North Carolina, South Carolina, and maybe even up the coast from there. All right? I don't want to take anything at all away from what's getting ready to happen in the Caribbean. Again, I will be addressing that in more detail later in the day on Sunday. But for those of you that are watching this soon after I post it, you're getting a first-hand look at it. It's amazing. This is absolutely one of the most challenging and interesting and complex systems I have seen in my entire 21 years of doing this. All right, I'm going to get some sleep, hopefully several hours of it, and then I'll be back tomorrow. I won't say bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, but as close as I can, sometime, hopefully before noon. All right, I do need to get a little bit of sleep. So until then, it's still out in the Caribbean, not bothering anybody just yet. So don't freak out if I'm not around for the next 6 to 8 hours. I'll be posting sometime in the early afternoon. Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack.com. Hey, thanks for tuning in, especially if you got notified of an update and you watched this early in the morning like I'm up. I do appreciate that very much. I'll talk with you later in the day today.